Hello and welcome back to the show. Today we're going to be putting the final bit of decorations on our Christmas tree. I'll just start with showing you where we left off. We can have the snowflakes falling. You saw Santa Claus going across. We put the star on. Our lights are blinking. We can add decorations. Add different ones as well. And I'm going to add a candle. Candles are still in the wrong spot, so we can fix that today. It's the first thing we can fix, I think. And we can also add presents, and they can go behind the tree as well if you click in the right place. Okay, that's where we are. If you're just tuning in for the first time, there's 2 previous episodes where I show I put this whole thing together. It's not that much code, but it is several files. I show several concepts in Fuse, and today we'll use a few more concepts. Today I want to focus on the stuff at the top, everything sort of up here. Whoa, it's not. My little highlighter's not working. Huh. Why doesn't this work? So I'm just checking to see I have this tool. Lets me draw on the screen. That is not letting me draw on the screen anymore. Interesting, it doesn't let you draw on the background. That's not very smart. Here. I don't know what it's doing. What a wonderful way to start. Okay, we're using that tool. Figure out why it's not working. Glad I paid for that when it doesn't work. Okay. So today, we're going to focus on this top part of the screen right here. And we want to clean up the palette. I don't really like the idea of adding candles and buttons and different ones. We used the page control before, but it's a little bit confusing and it's a little bit weird. And having text on the screen is also never so nice. I mean, it's okay, but we have visual things, might as well show them. And when it's closed, you don't know which one's selected. So what I like to do is replace the selected bit with the actual item to show, hey look, this is selected. Because then I can get rid of the close button as well entirely, and clear can be an entirely new box, and it can have its pop down on its own as well. So for the moment, I'm going to keep using the page indicator, I think. I'm not entirely certain. The reason being because I think I'm going to add another page for the presents. Oh, so now it's working. Great, go away. So I'm going to add another one for the presents, and just for the purpose of showing that you can select something, or we can do the star. The star is another option, but the presents would be easier first. And maybe I should add the presents first. Yeah, let's do the presents first so we can actually do a separate panel and it makes sense. Okay, I'm going to clear this first so I don't have too much load here. And where do I have the bulb palette and the color palette? These are going to end up merging, and I want to make a... Well, I'm going to copy this once again, which is really not that nice. I mean, but there's enough differences. Save as. We're going to merge the first 2 though, right away. So this copying will go away. I don't really like copying, but yeah, it's complaining about that because it has the same name. Gift palette selected gift. Gifts, and that's probably everything. Like I said, we should really make a common selectionality out of this, but when we can do that, it's just not what I want to focus on right now, and that would take a while. I can actually do that offline. Selected gift, of course, though it shouldn't have failed. I don't know, okay. Class gift we already have. Gifts is already there. We need to have dot gifts equals gifts. This dot selected gift equals. Can't type gifts today. Gifts 0. And as I said, if you have any questions at any point while I'm doing this, just feel free to ask. And otherwise, afterwards, just send me a note on Twitter, and I can get back to you, or we can do another episode explaining some more. Okay, this is a problem. We can't have gifts here. It's going to have to be available gifts, and I'm just going to shorten it to... I won't shorten it just for the purpose of that. It's available gifts. And when the person adds a gift, we're going to do No longer that one. I'm going to say let image equals this dot. What do we call it? Selected gift, I hope. Select gift. Selected gift. Selected gift. And that should be enough for that. This should work already, even if we don't have a selector, because we still have the default. Well, okay. Well, that's kind of annoying. Oh, because I forgot to do this again. Sorry, when I reload that. Again, we don't know how to fix that defog yet. So they're all going to be the same GIF for now, and that's fine. We have to make the selector then in the main view, and we had this in the ornament panel, which is now kind of unfortunately named because I'm going to have more in here. And I'm going to have a gift panel as well, gift palette. Gifts. I think this should actually be enough. Except, why are there no gifts in there? Let's go to gift palette, data resource, gifts. That should be fine. What do we call them? Available gifts. That's the problem. Available gifts. There we have it. So we can put different ones down. And now we have the basic selector. We can go back later and add a random one, because random is also nice, but for now we'll just leave it like this. And I just want to put a gifts one because I want to merge bulbs and candles together now into a single panel. And we'll simply call it ornaments. And in state I'm going to just, whoops. And so we can get rid of this selected bulb and selected candle, but we have the issue now that we have different types. You notice how we had the 0.07 for size and 0.12 for the candle, and we also have the candles being placed in the wrong position. So when you place a candle, it should be at the bottom of the cursor, or the cursor should be at the bottom, and we're going to have to replace that too. So instead of just having a list of candles like this, we're going to create two different ornament types. I'm going to say class ornament bulb, and JavaScript extends. We're working with too many languages today. I just forgot which way it extends. Is it colon or the extend? I just need anything. Oh, come on. Extends. It looks like extends. Extends. Good. Extends ornament. And this is still going to take an X and a Y, and it's going to take an image. But we're going to pass the height in this way now as well. I don't know if it's not the best way, but it'll set up something, and this is called super. Super X, Y, image, and this dot height. Maybe we should pass the height in directly. And what we say the height of a bulb was 0.07. Now, I'm confusing two things now. This is not correct. We don't want an ornament bulb. These are definitions. So we have down here, we have a bulb definition and constructor, and it has an ID. And maybe it should just be an ornament definition. We want this to say ornament definition. It has an ID and an image, and it'll have a height. Probably have something better than that. And so now we have var equals ornaments. This is where we're going to create a whole bunch of new ones. Is actually going to be a new ornament. Because what we'll have is this will have contain both the image and the selection, which means we have to change several things, unfortunately, but this will work. And I'm going to make it very simple. I'm going to make it with some maps so we can have And I'm actually going to take away, this is going to sound really weird, but I'm going to take away the ID in the image, because we're going to let these auto-generate, and I'll show you what that is in a second. Ornament, and this is 0.1 set. No, 0.7. So this is a pattern I used in the Netrunner example as well, and 0.07. This seems silly at first when I have a bunch of the same ones, and I'm already reducing it a bit. And we're going to reuse the key ID as the image. But now I have a different one. Now I have candle 0, new ornament, definition 0.12, which this is the height then. And this isn't correct because it's missing some information, but I don't want to duplicate it here. So this will be this dot height equals height. And now we're going to do for each of these, and ornaments dot for each, and I've forgotten how to iterate over a list. Well, I'm going to open up the Netrunner code I had, because we did the exact same thing. I had a tree, and it had to go, actually it's even one level higher to get its own directory. Where's Netrunner? Was that in, not cards, Netrunner. And it had this reduce, interesting, reduce object type, object. Wow, how did that work again? I don't remember how reduce worked. And object comma type. Alright, so that was the default, I think. And it's a bit weird. I can't remember exactly how this works, and so it might take me a little bit to figure this out. Somebody can help you with the reduce here. We want to reduce, we want to take the no, sorry, we don't actually want to do that. We just want to do a iteration of a map. How do I do the iteration of a map? I think it's with keys, isn't it? Keys iterate through object properties. Say I don't use this so often. I always have to look this up again, but this is what I want to do. Is it really just each? Okay, come on, I'm getting confused here. For key, is it really for key and object? P and object? I guess so. So let's see what happens when we do that. So for var P in, actually let's say var ID in ornaments. And we're going to have an ornaments it's called an ornament vector as well. And now we have to create a new. So for each ornament, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to say var ornament. I'm going to shorten it here now, ornaments. ID ornament dot, what do we want to call this? ID equals ID. So this copies it over, ornament dot image equals ID. I'm going to simplify this so we don't pass the image in, but we don't want the higher level to know we simplified it. And that should be enough, and then we're going to say ornaments vector dot push ornament. And this will create ornaments vector is now a vector as opposed to a map, because the maps, they're not going to be exposed the way we want in Fuse. We want a vector. Although it's a really interesting idea that maybe we should actually allow something like each to work on keys. I don't know. Let's just do this for now. So we have ornaments and ornaments vector. And so now we're going to replace bulbs with available ornaments equals the ornaments vector, and selected ornaments vector 0. Let's just get rid of candles for a second. And we're going to have to modify the palette. So it's not a gift palette, we want the ornament ornament. So first off in the ornament panel, let's get rid of the candle palette. We'll delete the file later. And let's go into the bulb palette. This is now an ornament palette, but I don't want to rename it right now. So selection equals, okay, this is where it gets a little bit weird. Selected ornament, this has to be a string, so this is an ID. So whatever the 0, 1 is, and it's going to pass the ID back and forth. And it's still selected, and now it's going to be available ornaments. And data to resource, no longer just it has an image in it. And the selectable value is the ID now. So these are, we know we're the same in the background, but this will be enough to separate for the GUI. Did I do something wrong? Ornament definition, yeah, of course. Ornament definition is, where's it complaining about that? It's 51. Oh no, I'm in the wrong place. Ornament, those aren't good. So these should be gone. These shouldn't be referenced anywhere anymore. So let's actually look for bulbs. Gone. Candles. Gone. We're going to have to change that selection, but let's see it working first. So now I have them all in the same list. And when I select it, goes through all of them, but of course it won't show them anymore. Okay, and I'm going to change it to be selected ornament ID, so we're very clear here. There's a feature here I want to do, and this is part of the reason why I'm doing some refactoring now in the main FuseLibs code, is that I want selected ornament not to have to be an ID base. I want it to actually be the actual object. But that would be, I can't do that yet. It would be super convenient because I'll show you the problem with this right now. Is when we combine by ID is that when they actually add an ornament here, you can't just say ornament definition equals this dot selected ornament, which is what we want. We actually have to do something like this now. Ornaments, this dot selected ornament dot ID. So we actually have to look it up by ID now instead, which isn't horrible. It's not a bad option, but it'd be a lot easier if I just used objects. It just so happens that I have the perfect form for this because I knew how this worked already. If we didn't have this in a lot of projects, we wouldn't want to have to force ourselves to use the ID this way. So now we don't need palette index at all, and the ornaments themselves are going to change. We're going to give it a definition, so X and Y still is the same. We're going to give it a definition instead. And so this has to change up here, X, Y, and then definition. And this dot definition equals definition. Because the definition includes a height, and it includes a, make it very clear, this will also have a this dot ID, this dot, I'm drawing up this dot image, yeah. Blue and loop. Okay, so we have an ID and an image, so we can get rid of the image and height from up here, which means we have to change the way they're displayed. So in the actual ornament palette and the bulb palette now, the bulb palette is still the same because this is dealing with definitions. So it's supposed to be selected ornament ID. Sorry. So this is dealing with definitions, and we've already done that. But the main view is now dealing with actual ornaments, so instances of it, and they have a list to a definition on it. And so the ornament panel, now when it goes through ornaments, where is that each in here? No, not in here. Ornaments. It's on the tree panel. We have an each here somewhere, and each for each front gifts, back gifts, and ornaments. And this is fine, but now we don't have a height. Now we have a definition.height, and we have a definition.image, and oh, I really hope this works. Oh man. There's a chance it won't. Okay, let's see if it's actually still up here first. Our ornaments are still there. Undefined, undefined. Okay, so it's not quite working right. And why is that? So we have selected ornament ID, and where we add the ornament, we say selected ornament ID. I don't know why I put a dot there. ID. I forgot to resize it, sorry. Okay. And if this worked, I could put those on as well. And I should be able to stick the candles on. Okay, so these are all combined together now. Now what we can do for the candles as well, and first off, I'm actually happy this works. You can tell I have a bit of an issue that this definition, that image here, I'm not entirely certain if that was supposed to work, because data to resource doesn't take an expression, I think. It takes just a constant path, but maybe that path is supported. But now let's look at these anchors here. Let's stick the anchor in the file there. And so the anchors for the bulbs are going to be, and let's just choose the Y anchor, because at the moment it's perfectly centered. So the Y anchor for this one is going to be for the bulb. What do we have right now? We have 15%. So 0.15. And you can make these common if you wanted, so the bulbs will all have the same, but it's just because they're all similar. And then for the candles, we're going to say 0.98. This is more near the bottom. I'm just kind of guessing that number. I don't want to put 1, because when you put 1, it looks like it's slightly above where the cursor is. So instead, I'll put slightly below it. Anchor Y, and this will say this dot anchor Y equals anchor Y. And then in the tree panel, I can say definition dot anchor Y times 100%. Okay. So the bulbs are still working, but we may just be getting lucky there. And now let's put a candle. Now watch when I put a candle. Let's see if it goes in the right spot above the cursor. It does. So now it's above the cursor, which is exactly what we want. So you can place a candle correctly, and the bulbs also place correctly. They hang from where you click, and the candles go on top. That cleans it up a little bit, but now I want to make this little tab bar a bit better. So we have gifts, and I don't like the way this works because I want this to disappear whenever you select one, because it's not likely you're going to select multiple ones. When you're thinking of UX, always think of what the user story is. The user's going to select one and then be like, go to my way. And so if the pattern is always click, click, and click, we can at least save the user one click, so when they click this, it automatically closes it. But then we want to show which one they have selected. So let's do that first. Instead of bulbs, and we're going to do one other thing, in the state, we can also do a get selected ornament. And this is no longer an ID. We're going to make this part in the bottom here into a function. And this exports it as well. And this makes it available in the GUI, or in the UX layer, I mean, selected ornament. And this, of course, this dot selected ornament, we can get rid of this. But this has the advantage that now we can actually show what it is there. So in the palette, ornament panel, okay, this is where it's going to get really weird. I don't think we can use the page control anymore. because this might get really complicated to do correctly. I can actually do it. I could actually load it from the definition, but instead let's just stick a fixed item in there. And, oh man, I don't know. How can I do that? Well, we can add an image here. This is going to be really silly. Let's actually do it this way. We have a resource string dividing this page, and its name, or is it key? I gotta look this up again. I think it's key. I don't like just guessing all the time. I'm pretty sure it's key though. And what I'm going to do is on each page I'm going to associate which icon I want with the page, and it's going to be dynamic. And this is actually, despite me just saying I didn't really want to do this, I think it's the easiest option. Key, resource string equals key, and the key equals, let's say icon, and the value equals, what did I say? This is supposed to be, on this page, we're going to have the selected ornament.image. So this means on this page we're defining a string called icon selected ornament.image, and we're going to get rid of the title. And in this tab indicator, for now we're just going to overlay the two. We'll put the text like this and make the whole panel clickable first of all. Hit test mode equals local bounds instead, so it's not the text. And then we'll put an image as well. Image height equals 18 is going to be small, so let's make it bigger. Let's make it 25. And the source equals, this is what we said in the other ones, it'll be like the GIF palette, the data to resource. But this is the part I don't know if I can do correctly, because I want to take the name of an object on that page. So what I want is I want page icon. And this I'm pretty sure doesn't work, because data to resource does not take a path. It does. Alright, somebody fixed that. I'm really surprised. So actually somebody actually made this thing take an expression. I'm surprised with that. Okay, so now if we go up here, you can see how it highlights in the tab bar. Whatever one we select is now in that tab bar. And we just didn't put any text, so just overlaying the two. This is slightly smaller than I want, so let's make it a bit bigger. Actually, going to reduce the padding a bit. So because we don't have text, we can reduce the padding on the sides. And let's make it a bit bigger. 25 is quite small to players. Pump it up a little bit. And let's do the same for GIFs right away. So we have the GIF in there. And this way we're consistent when we make the tabs. So we have to set up the same basic thing here. For the GIFs, we're going to move this up and just GIF definition. And we're going to do it pretty much the same way. Constructor height. It doesn't need an anchor. Actually, at the moment, we don't even use a height, do we? No, it needs nothing, so we don't actually create a height. Let me see the tree panel. What do we use on the GIFs? Just Y an image, so this will be just an image we need in here, and it's going to be copied from the ID as well. And so let's do it this way. Var GIFs equal GIF 0, new GIF definition. And we can repeat this 3 times. What this does is this sets up for having very different definitions for each item. Instead of having, right now they're all the same, but it lets you have actually a totally different GIF. And to get back to this later, we might want to add a snowman or something. And by doing it this way, we can separate them a lot. And if you really want to make this abstract, you'd actually combine the GIF definition and the ornament definition to one, or at least make them extend the same class. And we did that in the Netrunner example. I'm going to close it right now because I couldn't see it, but for this we don't need something quite so complex. So var ID in gifts, var gift equals gifts ID, and we fit it in here, gift.id equals ID, gift.image equals ID, and the gifts vector.push gift. And we need a vector. And down here we change it. Available gifts are gifts vector, and selected gift ID is gifts 0.id. And now let's look where we add the gifts. Sorry, the phone's ringing. Just ignore the phone for a second. Let's see if I can make it go away. Apparently I can't. Wonderful. Nice one. Can't just turn it off. Somebody answered it, so that's okay. So when we add a gift, we no longer take this image equals. We have to do the same thing. We have to have a selected gift. And I'll just copy this for a template because it's a bit further down. And the selected gift is saying, well, we have an ID. We already know what the ID is. And the actual gift, the object, is this dot selected gift ID. Because gifts is a map, if we look at this again, gifts is a map, it's an object, it's the ID to the gift definition, ID to gift definition. But each doesn't like working like this, so each we give it a vector, gifts vector, and we simply map these into the vector. We add them all in a list, and at the same time we give them the ID in their image. And so we create this divide property called selected gift, and the model system takes care of it. It says, hey, when this gift ID changes, it also knows selected gift has also changed. It just knows that, and therefore we can use that both as a reactive variable. And I can get rid of the randomness down here and say this dot selected gift. This now works again. Didn't change it, and it's no longer an image though. It's a definition, so we should be clear about the name. And obviously we have problems because we didn't change everything. And in the ornament panel, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to get rid of the name, the title as nothing, and give it a resource string as well. Resource string key equals icon equals selected gift.image. Now I should point out how this page stuff works. Oh, we got to change. Before I point it out, let's make sure it does work. ID been caught somewhere wrong. That's just everything broke because the JavaScript broke. What would the problem be there? We don't have our mapping in place yet. I think sometimes. So what I mean by mapping is that in JavaScript, since we transpile this, you want to know what the source file number is, and these numbers don't line up with that. They line up with the new file, and I think we have an open issue to map that. And it's something obviously you'd want to do, but right now we're going to have to figure out the hard way. Ornaments was working. Now let's look at the class diff, gift definition, gift, gifts vector. This all looks okay. Gifts vector, push gift. This dot available gifts equals gifts vector. This dot selected gifts ID equals gifts 0. Aha. Gifts vector 0. That would be the problem. There's some other problem too, but okay, whatever. So now we have the gift up here as well. And well, okay, we have a small issue, and that's because of the gift palette has to work with image and ID. Yeah, so we have the gifts there as well. Uh-oh, why is that not working? There's something wrong here. This one's working, but I got something wrong over here. It's not the selected gift ID. Okay, that would make it really weird. Who knows what type of error that's generating internally when you combine it to the wrong object. So now we have those two tabs. And so that's the basics there we want. But now I want to prove this. The purpose of this was that I want to be able to close this and see what's selected even when it's closed. And so we have that, but we want to make it automatically close now instead. How can we make it automatically close? Well, we have to call this close. And I'm going to use a user event for this. I'm going to put a user event right at the top of our panel. Right at the top in the main view. Where is our main view? I'm going to create a user event equals, let's say close palette. Or close panel. What do we want? Close, I don't know, just, let's say close palette for now. That's fine, good enough. And I think that'll get it. And then in something like in say the ornament panel, or let's choose gift panel, then when they tap, we toggle the selection. We also want to raise user event name equals close palette. Sorry, event name. And we need something to respond to this as well. So that's wherever we define the palette. Wherever we define the panel, in ornament panel. And actually, because this is local to ornament panel, let's put it inside ornament panel for now. Or, yeah, if we want to move it out later, we can. But it's actually local to ornament panel at the moment. Close palette. And it could just be called close at this point. And where's our close button? It's right here. So we could do a similar thing for on user event, event name equals close palette. We are going to do the same thing as we did down here. Now, if we did this right, when I click on one of these, it closes it. It's good. But not this one because I haven't closed it yet. But these ones, it'll close it, which is what we want. When you click on it and it closes, and you have that. Now, we don't like duplication. So this right here should also be raise user event name, or event name equals close palette. And that makes sure that this button here is doing the same thing. And we're going to do the same with we have gift palette and whatever that was closed. So we did gift palette, and now we need to do bulb palette. And let's remove, can I delete the file here? Delete the candle palette. Good. And we're going to copy this. And this is where it might be really useful to copy this file. But again, now I only have 2 of them. So it's not the end of the world bulb palette. Okay. So now I select the bulb, and it's done. Select a gift, and it goes to gifts. But now you can see that the sliding back and forth to the page transition no longer makes a lot of sense. Do we even need the pages there anymore? Probably not. But maybe. They might still do this. Yeah, I don't know if that's a good idea right now. Let's sort of just leave it for now. And let's try to clean up this bit, because we don't really need the close so much. We can leave the close. But these are not so clear to see now. When we have this big white bar here, it's kind of ugly, and I'd like to get rid of it. And so now we can change the way that tab indicator works. In the ornament panel, this is now the dock panel, the color will no longer be white. No, I don't want white here anymore. If I just take off the white, the backgrounds will all disappear. But we need backgrounds on the individual ones. And let's make a little class for this one. Let's say tab indicator, or make it directly a rectangle. Or, no, let's make it a panel. UX class equals panel tab. And it has a padding of 5. Why not? And rectangle equals background. We'll make its color now 5 We'll give it a margin as well. Margin is 5, 0. No up down where there's a left right margin. And the corner radius we want to make them rounded at the bottom so it looks like they're stuck to the top. So this goes top left, top right, 0, 0, 5, 5. And hit test mode we'll put right on here as well so that all of our tabs function the same. Full bounds. Padding was 6 before. Do we need 6? 6 probably look better. And so this dock now becomes a panel tab. Panel tab dock equals left. We don't need this. We don't need the padding. The rest can stay the same. Panel tab. Let's see if I get a tab. There. So we have one tab now. This one obviously shouldn't be always visible. But we can make the panel tabs for these other ones now. We want to make, for the page indicator, it's a panel tab. And it simplifies this layout. Panel tab. And do we want to show which one is selected now? I don't think so. I think it's going to be very obvious which one's selected. So we can get rid of the selection graphic. But then we don't see that working. Doesn't matter. Let's just get rid of it for now. We can add it back if we want. So now we have these tabs. They take up a little less space. Panel indicator. Wow, why is it so big? Font size 18, that's why. Don't need any facing in there. We'll make the right close the panel tab as well. And I'm just going to get rid of the text for now in the interest of visuals. So we just have that instead. So we have fewer panels there. The colors are getting a little bit bright for this background, so we might want to tone it down a bit. But again, not too much because we have bright colors, so let's just tone it down a little bit. So it's not just completely white. Or is this too dark now? Now that's ugly. Nope, white look better. I won't play with it too much. So we have the tabs at the top. Let's just say their color is snow, nice snow tabs. And when you click on them, the top opens then, and it closes again. Now we have two things. We don't want this button here when it's gone, and also when it's gone, there shouldn't be a white line. These should actually look like they're coming from the top. How can we do that? I want to get rid of the item spacing here too, because I put margins on them. Good, they're close together. So where do we get rid of that spacing on the top? Why is there a panel at the top? Why is there a panel spacing up there that we don't see? We have a page control, title collapsed, stack panels, the ornament panel. Does this have spacing in the front? The ornament panel is docked to the top. Where is the white coming from? It's coming from here. No. Where is the white coming from now? Does the bulb pellet have it? It does, and it has a padding in it. So first off, let's get rid of this color. I'm going to have to get rid of it in the GIF palette too. Somebody should have really merged these classes long ago when I said it. And why is it still white? That's annoying me. Where's that white coming from? So this is the page control. These are the two pages. If I remove the page control, oh, it's going to whine because I can't define something. Let's try to take the pages out. Whoops. It's still white. What if I remove the... Well, it's collapsed. It's not supposed to be taking any space anyways. So where's the white coming from? The ornament panel, where is it coming from? This is where I had to figure out. The dock panel, let's make this a color. Dock panel equals something, so it'll be ridiculous so we can see it. It's coming from the dock panel. Why? Why does the dock panel have color? I mean, what is that space at the top for? Let's keep doing this. Color equals to my visual debugging and remove everything from the panel. Now there's nothing left. There's something white up there. I have no idea what it is. Oh no, I did the resizing thing. I broke it. So I filed this defect. I'm going to see if I can get fixed. Reload it. I'm trying to figure out why there's that white line. It's kind of important to the effect to not have it, but ornament panel, client panel, ornament panel, dock equals top. I don't have any other dock equals top. But let's completely get rid of it and see if it's actually from the ornament panel. I'm put my Mac on the ground again. It's getting too hot and noisy. Okay, so let's comment out the panel entirely. And the white bit is still there. Where is the white bit coming from? Where is the white bit coming from? This is making no sense. The image is not filling it up. Hello, said who. Today I'm working on Fuse. Fuse is the product we're working on right now. Fuse is the design tool and application development tool for mobile, for iOS and Android. And this is the preview. The preview runs on desktop, and you have an option. I can export this directly to an Android or US or iPhone device, and it run the same way. And right now what I'm debugging is why is there a little green line at the top of my panel here? And I'm trying to figure this out. And I wonder if it's maybe because of the image. Let's check out what the image has in it, just to be sure. Where's the Finder? Okay, I'm going to go home. Source user. So yeah, so said who, and Leaf is my other project. Leaf is a compiler, and in Leaf I usually do algorithms. And this week because there's not much visual this week, I've been doing Fuse this week because it's a lot more visual. But I will be doing more algorithms in Leaf, and I've done actually one in Fuse as well. That was the edA-qa algorithm for drawing spleens, and I had a demo for that. And that was also an algorithm. Okay, so where is this thing now? Assets. Looking for the background. Our background. has a white line at the top. Well, that sucks. Yeah, no, yeah, the resolution, it is tall enough, but there actually appears to be an invisible line at the top. So let's try to get rid of that. I hope this program can clip it. We're just going to go down. It doesn't have to be exact. 1,000's good. And can I cut? Can I cut? Invert. I have a feeling that's not what I want to do. I don't have graphics editing programs on this one, so... Come on. How do you mean for drawing spleens? You mean the edA-qa? Yeah, that's a spleen drawing algorithm. It's drawing and for splitting. I needed it for splitting. And okay, anybody know how to use a preview? Can I just reduce this, adjust size? Pixels. 1,000 by 1,000. Well, this is just annoying. This is just annoying that there's no... Oh, there it is, crop. Oh, okay. Can I save this now? Does preview actually reload these files? Probably not. What's it complaining about? Failed to load, failed to load. Why is it failing to load? Let's just restart the viewport. Maybe I broke something. Where's background now? Background dot... Oh, where'd background.jpg go? For whatever reason, background JPEG disappeared and I got replaced with background ping. I don't know why that is. That's just a bigger file. Ping and JPEG files make no difference once it's kind of on the device because it has to load the whole thing in memory anyways, unless it has it on the fly. Okay, let's get back on track here. Yeah, so said who, if you look back at my videos in my archive, you can see the one I did for the drawing, the edA-qa one. It has a little interactive tool, and you can actually download and play with that in Fuse. That one works, I think, in the current version. And then I did a demo of what I built, actually, with that. I showed a little flower that's being built and a loading icon. And hopefully that'll get out into the code soon. And so now this code here, I'm just sort of playing around. And we just want to see where that annoying space was coming from. And I think it's fixed now. Oh, get rid of the green. Okay, so now we have these little icons at the top. That's what we want. So you can clearly see what's selected. It's going to be running that GIF down if I do the resizing. Go. Now I broke something again. I'm going to have to put the white back on there. And here, we're going to take this one. Huh. Of course, now we broke something. Everything except the panels, Why does that not work? The GIF palette no longer... GIF palette works, but the tree view doesn't have GIFs on it. So let's look in the code. What's happening when we add a gift? Let's see which gift it's adding. And console.log and where it's adding it. Cannot read property X if I... Oh yeah, okay. Ignore me again. So we have a GIF 0, image 0, which is totally okay. and we have its position. But something's not drawing now. Any idea what we changed? Gift. Well, this is kind of annoying. I don't think we changed anything, and suddenly it's not working. Alright, well, tune in next time, said who. It's nice to talk a little about Fuse. You can watch the rest of the video later. Hopefully I get this GIFs working again where they show up in the bottom. And if I get a chance, maybe tomorrow, I know it's like getting really close to Christmas, but if I have a chance, I might do a algorithms show in Leaf, I mean. For now, I'll keep fighting with the images, the GIFs, which I don't know why they're here. GIFs placed. When did the GIFs stop working? This is the question I have. That sucks that your video keeps freezing. Yeah. Unfortunately, these programming ones require decent bandwidth to see as well, otherwise you can't see this code. I've made it pretty big, but I just say that. I actually like it this big normally. Okay, hopefully you get that fixed, but good. Anybody remember what I did to make the GIFs not work? GIFs, data resource to image, gift, anchor, has a height, has an anchor. Where is that? Debugging so much fun, live debugging. We have a gift, XY, it gets an oh. We totally screwed that up. Let's take a definition now. That means at one point when we tried it, it probably wasn't reloading correctly. That's a bit weird. Okay, so now I still have problems. This game, there's no game here. This is just a weird demo we're just playing with. We're just showing you how to do some of this stuff in Fuse. It's to show off a whole bunch of examples of how to build little animations. Some of it's practical, some not. Like we're showing off, you wouldn't actually make this type of thing. We got images, that's wonderful. Good, so got to put a background there. So yeah, part of this is to show off Fuse and show how this is. If you see my live preview, it's usually working. It saves a lot of time, and I just change the code and it works. And for example, a few things get screwed up here though. But if we take the GIF palettes and we say, okay, well, what's the background? Put a color here. So we can see it live that it changes the color. This one still has no color, but that's okay. What we may want to say is that maybe this color, it shouldn't be for the palette, because that's a bit redundant. Let's put the color on the panel that's showing it. The panel tab, on the page control, let's do it right there. Color equals FFF. So all of them will have a color now. And these tabs still come down. Let's clear them all out again. Now the other thing I want to fix is I don't like this jumping up and down. Not this part, I mean when you click on something it just disappears. We want to animate this in and out. And right now what I'm doing is I'm setting the visibility, and we shouldn't do that. We should set a control, a value of some kind, whether it's on or off, saying it's true or false. And so let's do this. We're going to say while true, and by default we're going to say false, so it's by default false, or no, let's actually make the default true. Value equals true, and I'll understand in a minute. Show palette while it's true, and so when it's Alright, I hope you enjoyed. Again, it's not a game, it's just a fun thing to play around with. If somebody wants, I can actually put this door in some point, and we'll see what happens with it. Okay, so now I'm going to make this palette appear and disappear. Is that when true, show palette true, false. Okay, hide palette, that's what it is. We want to hide the palette. By default, we'll hide the palette, and we want to move y equals. This might not work as we intend. I might have to do a limiting thing here. And let's see how that works, because we want to slide it in and slide it out, because we want the bottom bit to come on. And okay, let's play with this a bit first. -1 relative to equals size, duration equals 0.3, easing equals cubic in out. I should do something like that. And then instead of setting the palette visibility to none, what we're going to do is when you on user event, we're going to do set hide palette dot value equals true. We're going to hide it. And when we click on something to show it, where's our palette? We want to do the opposite. We want to do set hide palette dot value equals false. And I have problems now. Uh-oh. Something went wrong. Set hide palette. Oh, well, the visibility is collapsed, so it's going to be a bit of an issue. It'll never show up in that case. Alright. Okay. But you notice how it doesn't actually slide it out. It's because we have this thing is fixed. It's still taking up space. So there's a couple things we can do. What's probably most sensible to do is make the little palette things in the bottom here attached to the bottom of the panel. And I can do that simply by extending the page control all the way down to the bottom. Or wait, this is going to be a bit strange. Not the page control itself. Yeah, how do I do this? I want to do the whole panel. Let's just move the whole panel up. So we don't even have to put this as part of the page control. Let's move the whole panel up instead, and it'll stay in its normal location. And this will move the whole panel up relative to, and I'm going to say just get rid of the relative now. I'm going to move it relative to the height of palette nav. So it'll move it up high enough to hide that thing. Okay, and we have to move it to a minus location, of course, because the minus is moving around. Oh yeah, well, we have an issue with parsing that minus doesn't work. Need to do 0 minus. Okay, so we select something now. This gets closer to 1. Just ignore the reloading bit there. Sometimes it gets in a funny state. And this functions more like what we want, right? It's only there when we click on it, it goes away. So this is functioning more like you might expect. The animation speed's a bit off. We can change that. I don't know what the standards are for hiding and showing the palette. You could still go back and forth here. I don't know why you don't want to do that, but okay. And this little close button is perhaps not in the best location anymore. We don't want to show it because right now if you click it, it does nothing. You can only close it. And we can do the same thing here. Well, true source equals, actually, well, false. Source equals hide palette. There's another feature that makes this a lot easier, and it's called the let feature. But I'm trying to avoid using it right now because I don't know if it's in this released version using models. So I'm just trying to use it. We can just choose variables that make this easier. Okay. I don't know why it's complaining about that. Oh, because it's supposed to be a switch. How else can I do this? I want to just have a value switching on and off. And okay, then we can just do it this way. The palettes, and we'll just give this one a name too. While true UX name equals close button. I'm going to change close button dot value equals true. It's kind of a weird way to combine them, and in a future episode I'll show you how you use let to combine these things, but what's it complaining about now? What did I do wrong? Well, true, okay, fine, I did it wrong. Okay, why is it not doing it now? I got it backwards. How did I get that backwards? Well, true, close button. Oh, yeah. We'll make the default. I just got to reverse that. So by default, you have to follow a logic bit here now that's, okay, it's open at first. I don't know why it's open at first. That's what's really weird. I think that just might be a reloading thing. So now we have the close button there only if it's open or closed. It's not really in a great location because these things shift around. That's not so good. We might just be better off putting it inside this panel to the top and then not worrying about it. And because then it'll be a lot clearer. Let's do that instead. Instead of messing around with this while true and everything, let's put this actually in the panel on the top. We can put this, we'll put a dock panel here instead. Dock panel. Oops, what'd I do? I don't know why I didn't insert. And then we can get rid of the weirdness. And this has to be up here now. We have to make it change different height. UX name equals just palette. And now it's doing funny stuff. Because we said a wrap panel and that makes sense. A whole bunch of them, and dock is left, which probably shouldn't be a panel tab anymore. This should just be a normal panel. And the color of this whole dock panel should be white. And the alignment equals, let's just say top. It's fine. Okay. It's not in the greatest locations, but at least it only shows up when this panel is open. If you click on it, it goes away. And so we'd put it somewhere else probably. I mean, it's not very big now, and padding equals, you want to get to 32, so let's just put a bunch of padding. Just give the user a chance to select it. Okay. And now this is a wrap panel. This panel is particularly big, and that's part of the reason why I want to do this collapsing. So if you have too many things on here, you can actually see the other items. It's just a bit unfortunate when it's the next one's bigger that it's a bit smaller. Okay. And this X button now, we'll just leave it as is, but you might want to make this slide out the panel as well, and then let you show, you know, how, I mean, and then let it show that yes or no options you really want to clear, but we can leave that for now. There's a little box. I'm still not happy with the white. I mean, there's just something doesn't look quite right in them. And I think it has to do with this. Let's just make it like semi-transparent. Still didn't look right. It just, something just doesn't look right on those rectangles. I don't know. I'll just leave it like that. It should be okay. This ended up moving Santa Claus down, which is weird. Should not have moved Santa Claus down. And risk resizing a little bit. Okay. So now we can put candles on. The candles are still in the right place. Let's put some gifts, the green gifts in the bottom. So it keeps with candles up here. It depends on where you click. And we want to choose a new candle. Put some bulbs on. And you can still add some snow. Aha, there's a clicking problem here. Notice you can't click up here. Because this panel's on top of it. But I don't understand why it's getting clicks. Because the falling snow is on top. Then we have the ornament panel docking, because it's docked to the top. Why do we say dock? That explains a lot. This should not be docked. This should just be alignment to the top. Because dock's taking up space, and that's what's pushing Santa Claus down and making the buttons not work. So when Santa comes out, he should be in the same location he was before now. Possibly too. That's where he was, correct place. And now we can add snow up here. You can even add snow in this empty spot now. That's what we couldn't do before. And even in between here, you should be able to add snow. If you click on the panel, it comes down. And the X is still cleared everywhere. So now that adds a little panel. We have these little drop-down panels, which is good. And what else could we add here? So we got the gifts. We have the ornaments. We could change the star selection. Or we could leave this soon, but I have some stars ready. I just want to see if maybe we can add some stars, and it's a different type of palette. We could change the star selection a bit. I have these other stars. Let me just save this now before it goes totally wrong. Status. Just add all the missing stuff. Lots of phone calls today. I gotta remember to remove the phone from my room in the future, just so it's not so loud. Okay, so this gives us the palettes, and so when you have the clearing function, it should probably be cleared. It might have it pop up, but we'll just leave it for that for now. Santa comes across, we have the lights, and I did split off the lights into multiple sections there, but I'd like to play with the path instead, I think. If you have any preferences, say, do you want to work on the star, changing the star, or do we want to fix the lights and make them blink independently? Let's work on the star for a bit instead, because this is going to use a different feature of Fuse as well. I know it's getting long. If you just want to come back later and see the end, go for it. Or you can just keep running in the background and keep adding the star here. Or if you want to keep going with the star next week. But let's just start in the star for now anyways. Let's get the star going, and we want another panel for stars. And what I did is I created a star paths, and these are a whole bunch of globals with actually stars in them. And if I go to the tree, right now I'm using an actual star at the top, and we no longer want to do that. We want to switch this to a path. Let's just keep the old one just to make sure. I know I just saved it in source control, but I want to keep it anyways. And now I want to do a path. We take off the points. X and Y stay the same, anchor stays the same, everything else stays the same except the round ratio and the ratio. Box sizing stays the same. And now I want to do we probably don't even need box sizing anymore. This will be fine because it has its own shape. We're going to have the data to it. And this is a global. And what did I just say? The global is path star 0. I don't know which star that was. Obviously it doesn't like what I did though. Oh, right there. Wow. Well, it doesn't like that path. I bet it's because the stroke is way too wide. There we go. So that's its star. We'll make the stroke narrower. And I did a whole bunch of these, so I have different stars. And I don't know why it's taking so long to reload that. That's a bit weird. And I know why that starts open. That's something, it's actually a defect here somewhere. They shouldn't start open. So that's path star 2, a nice throwing star. And then path star 3 is a different star, or 2, and then 3 is closest to the normal star. It's kind of a droopy star, but it matches the style of the image. But this stroke size on this one looks a little bit off. We actually want a fatter stroke size on this one. And path star 2, however, looks bad. Path star 1 probably looks good with the fat one. So we're going to have to make stroke path configurable along with it. Let's start with 1 though, first of all, or just 2. And what about that? And the anchor for this one's actually wrong. Or is it? I guess it depends where we want the star to line up. I want to check first the panel again, because it's kind of annoying me with the things on the top that the ornament panel is always starting in its shown state. The default is while true style palette. It's definitely supposed to be hidden by default. I don't know why it's not. I think this might be an issue with preview. I'll have to figure out why is this not hidden by default. Because you notice it opens up then. When you click on it, it goes away. It's only when I modify the file, so it looks like it maybe, I'm not going to say it's preview right away. We have some issues. It has to do with this expression here. And I can actually do this one another way. I could do -1 relative 2 equals size, and then say relative node equals palette nav. If this works, it helps me figure out debugging wise what it might actually be. Okay, and that actually works, so that helps me a lot to figure out why that didn't work. 2 to y equals minus height palette nav, because that should have worked and just didn't. So now we have stars again as well. We want the stars to appear. These star paths though, these are globals, and they should probably be resources instead. I don't know where they go. I really don't know where you would put these things, because I want them to work like a global variable, but I want them to work like a resource as well. And so I guess these have to be resources like the main one. And I wonder if I can just import resources here. I've never tried this. What's the file called? Star paths. Well, it doesn't even have a class name. Can I give it a class name? Star paths. Doesn't like that. Okay, well, I can do it the other way. Let's put this in instance instead. Make this an instance. And we'll make these resources. UX key, I think it's UX value. Key. You notice these are just SVG paths I put in here. I've taken them off of Pixabay and put them in here. And now it's going to complain about something else. And now what's it complaining about? Not instance, node group. Sorry. This can accept resources. And our star should have gone away, so something didn't reload. Because it can't be a global anymore, right? It has to be resource path star 1. Okay. Does this actually work? Good. So we can figure that out. Now we have enough. We have the stars working the same way. These other resources should also be moved to a file, I guess. And this makes no sense. Why is that? I didn't include this file and they're still there. Star paths. Maybe it was still in the file. Okay. I think I just never reloaded. I made it in a mistake and it was still there. So now we have another palette to do. We're going to do a do it the same way. Do we need different definitions of the GIFs? We didn't have to do GIFs that way. But let's do the same thing because it's the simplest way. Class star definition. It's good to follow a pattern once you have it because this is the most generic one. It's very adaptable. Var stars equal star 0. New star definition. Even though we have nothing in there. Oh, I recall. We're going to put the thickness in there. Oh, it's 0, 1, 2, 3. And we said they have a thickness in here. Or let's say stroke size. And this dot stroke equals stroke. Or stroke width. To be clearer. And I don't remember which ones we said have to be thicker and thinner. Two, 1. 1 can be fatter. 0 has to be super thin. And 3 can be fat. So 1 and 3 can be fat. And 3 can be the fattest. So the fattest can be this one, stroke width of 5, stroke width of 3, stroke width of 1, and stroke width of, let's say, just 1 as well. Then we'll do the same foot code. Stars vector equals this. In stars. Star.id equals ed star dot. Let's call it image, even though it's technically it's going to be an image. It'll be fine. It's not the same as the thing though. It's id stars vectors dot push star. The difference with this one is we only have a selected one, or we don't add to it. We still have the same selected one though. So we do the same thing. This dot available stars stars vector. This dot selected star id equals stars vector 0 dot id. Select star t, and we do the same thing here. Get selected star. Return stars this dot selected star id. And in the ornament panel, we're going to add a Did I take away the text? No, I didn't. Okay. Do a star palette. We'll figure out how to do one after. It's going to look a bit different than one. Star palette. And we're actually going to put a little star here instead. Let's go grab a Unicode star for that afterwards. Because we don't want to show the star twice, because that's going to be disconcerting, especially so close to each other. So we're actually going to reuse the text bit. But now we actually have to make a star palette, and we'll start from the GIF palette one, although in this case we actually have it somewhat different because we're using paths. star palette. Now it's complaining about duplicate names, star palette, selected star ID, available stars. And this is now a path. Let's just make it black for now, or make it a deep yellow for now, so we can see it. Height equals 30, data equals data resource. Is that enough? Might be, might not be. Complaining about something. Path, yeah, okay, whatever. I spelled it wrong. Uh-oh, I broke something. It does not export something. I didn't export something. Stars vector. What did I do wrong? We don't need stars now. We just need a selected star ID. I don't know what the error is. State does not export. Let's restart the viewport just to make sure I'm not in an inconsistent state. Clear it all. Let's see what happens. Just want to see the stars, and if I get the stars done, I think that'll be enough for today. Stars vector is not defined. Stars vector. Alright, why is it not defined? Stars vector. Stars vectors, there it is, right there. Where are my stars? Okay, I need to have a size again. I forgot about that. Unlike those other ones, they need a height. Width of 30 as well, or actually say... just give them a width. They don't have a natural width, I think. Why is it not? Just local bounds, so we see if it's switching. The actual path and star is working. Resource is fine. Now I have data resource definition dot. You know, I may have not actually finished it. Did I actually set the definition here? No, there is no star. Selected star is what I want. That's what it is. This should be resource selected star dot image. It's not working, but let's see the palette. Data resource image. Okay, so there are always star panels. Why is resource? No, it's resource data to resource. That's correct. Does this work? Why is that not working? What is our selected star? Get selected star, return selected star ID. This dot selected star ID equals. Well, let's put this on the console. Console.log. Selected this dot selected star ID. This should be working just like the other ones. I don't know why it's not. Star 0. Resource star 0 was working. Star 0. Oh, you know what it is. So I gave them different names. I gave them the past star 0. I just patch up the names now. It's the simplest solution rather than giving them different names. With this big file. There's another option because we distinguished the key and ID in the JavaScript. We could have done that instead as well. Good. Now we have that star. And we see the other stars. And it actually selects the other stars. That's what we want. And the stroke size isn't changed because I didn't make it do that yet. So let's do that up here. We have a stroke width. Let's put this down here. Selected star.stroke width. There we go. So now each star will have a different width. Now in this case, we don't really want the star palette from closing this. You don't really want it to close because you might just want to investigate. Well, let's see if all of them. You can check all of them out now. So now we have the star at the top. We could put the same star right there, but like I say, it starts to become really annoying. It starts to get in the way. But the other option isn't so good. The other option is showing, obviously that star is not so good. Let's just show something else. Let's grab some Unicode for this stuff. I just want to show variation here, so let's do a Unicode star. Unicode stars, it's our, let's see. What star do we have? Let's just take this star. Black star, that's what we want. Let's see. And this is the ornament panel. Black star. There we have a black star. It looks a bit silly. Panel tab, text its size, and okay, it's not perfect, but we have a star. And it lets us select the star. That's fine. Okay. So we have stars, and the point of showing the stars was that I'm using a different resource for them now. I'm not using images. The stars are using SVG paths, and we stuck the paths in the resources as well. So it's very similar, except instead of we use an image with a source, we use a path with the data instead. And that gives us that. There would be only one more thing to do. I think I've done enough for today, though, not to get people too bored about this. But let me recap what we did. Again, during this time, if you have any questions, please just ask. Or I don't know if I'll come back to doing the images again. I think I've done a lot with this tree. The other one I did is I have the images. I broke up the lights into 4 so we could actually have sequence lights going through. I might visit it another time. But I might leave it for now and then go to algorithms with Leaf again tomorrow. And next time on Fuse, maybe come back to the Netrunner browser or the Dice browser to show something else and other features. But let's recap the features we did. We made this palette panel at the top, and this switched it from it before. So when you click on one, these are still technically page control, so once it's open you can switch. And you have multiple items in here, so the candles in this are combined together. And when you select on one, it changes the icon. And we also fixed it so the candle is placed at the correct position relative to the mouse. You can put it right in the tips of the tree if you want. And you can also select the bulb from there. And we've shown how the tab can show the one that you have selected. And same with the gift. The gifts are now also selectable. We didn't get to do a snowman. I have the graphic for him, but we won't do them now. And Santa Claus in the back. I actually fixed his rotation so his rotation looks a little bit better. I cleaned up the clear button so it clears it. And we also put the collapsing button up there so it's not always there. And these tabs are a little bit more out of the way. And then we added the star as well. And the star is now a path shape, not done internally with star, but with an actual path. But you notice here, that's this part here, we retain the same stroke color, stroke width, and the same linear gradient. These apply just as well to a path as the built-in star shape. The built-in star shape is really just creating a path dynamically. The same thing, that path is just loading statically here, but we have 4 static paths. So when we click on the different stars, we use a different path. Oh, and there seems to be an error in this graphic. A little bit right there. I'm not too concerned about it, not my main thing. And because you notice here, the stars in the top here are different colors. They're simplified because they're smaller. You actually might want to do the same thing with GIFs and stuff. But for colors, I guess for the bulbs, the color is really important. Now, what's really bad for the UX here is when I have this open, this X makes it look like it'll close this, but it actually just removes everything, which is not perhaps the smartest thing. Let's put the shuriken one at the top instead. And add some GIFs back so we can see them. Put the bulb back on, a few bulbs. Okay, let's add a few candles, and then we're going to just sort of end this one. Wonderful decoration. Then we can add some snow. I'd say because we fixed the top, you can add snow in between. It doesn't make a big difference because once the snow hits the bottom, it just goes wherever it wants anyways. Okay. And I think that's about it. We went through all to do this. We're still using the page control at the top. And we're using it sliding in and out, so it actually slides in and out now. It's not an abrupt change. And this slides as well, and so if you close it, it also slides as well. It's an abrupt change. This close should really be changed to a prompting box saying you really want to close this stuff. But I think that's all I have for this. Unless somebody really wants me to continue with this, I probably won't. So if you really do, just, send me a message this time. Let me know on Twitter, let me know on the Fuse Slack channel, or the comments on YouTube or on Twitch. Otherwise, I'll probably leave this. I do have a few more things we could do. As I said, we could actually make the lights blink in patterns. I split them to 4 patterns. Or what was the other thing? Or fix this palette up a little bit. So we have the lights, and we could put a snowman down too. A snowman would be relatively easy to add now. But otherwise, I think I'll just leave it. The other show, if we do the lights, we'll probably do the show mainly for the lights and just the snowman. Otherwise, I'll just make this in the middle here so you can enjoy it a bit more. But that's all I have for this show. And if you like this, please subscribe. Again, Twitch or YouTube, or on Twitter as well. Follow me to get the updates. And subscriptions on Twitch and YouTube, of course, help quite a bit to get the word out of my show. And please check out Fuse. I think this works in the current version. I tend to always use development branches, but I didn't try using a special. I just said I tried to avoid some new features to see if this would work. If it doesn't work, then whatever release comes out next, it should definitely work in. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll probably do a video of this uploaded somewhere. And have good holidays, and if you don't catch me next week, if I'm not on much, then have a good New Year as well. Thank you very much for watching.